Hey everyone, David C. Anderson coming at you from the Knife Center, and on today's One Brand Challenge, if you were only allowed to buy Kershaw knives from now on, does their lineup have what it takes to satisfy your needs? Let's find out. All right, so for the rules for this One Brand Challenge, we're allowed to pick 5 knives. And everyone's needs, of course, are going to be different, so your 5 picks may look very different from mine, but my 5 categories are roughly as follows. I'm going to need a larger folding knife for bigger work, a average size folding knife, which to me is around that 3-inch mark, a gentleman's folding knife, and one of those last 2 categories must fall at 3 inches or under because I need that for certain jurisdictions close to where I live. I'm also going to need a large fixed blade chopper for when I go to camp, and a smaller fixed blade to be a primary belt knife, also for my outdoor excursions. What do we got from Kershaw, and can it fulfill my needs? Let's find out. Starting off with the big EDC folders. This is an area where Kershaw doesn't really have, a huge amount of what I would consider, larger than average folders. One that does come to mind immediately is the Strata series. This is the smaller version of the Strata with a 4.5-inch blade. The full-size version is what, 5.5 inches? Significantly larger and a bit larger than I need personally. Priced at about $70 normally. We've got a D2 blade, G10 front handle, stainless steel, frame lock on the back, flipper opening mechanism. Definitely a bigger knife. So other options, for me, usually I define this category as 3.5 inches or above. But again, given the relatively limited options in this area, we're gonna have to stretch it a little bit. But that's okay, because this knife right here, the Kershaw Blur, a classic at this point for sure, has a 3.4-inch blade available in a number of steels, including Magna Cut that you see right here. That version is priced at about $130. The handle is substantial yet versatile. It's not a restrictive grip. All kinds of hand sizes will work. Mine in particular will also work quite well. And you've got rubberized traction inserts for, you guessed it, traction, and a liner lock to keep things secure. Beyond that, stretching things a little bit even further from my kind of standard in this area, the live wire is a potential intriguing option. They're priced at about $230. There's a few blades to choose from. This is the Tonto profile right here with Magna Cut steel. It's only a bit over or about a 3.25-inch blade. So again, not offering me quite as much blade length as I would usually gravitate to, but it does have a substantial handle, or substantial enough for some bigger grips. So we'll see how that fares in the competition. Moving on to the standard EDC, 3 options. One, I'm super happy that Kershaw is now, for the last 2 years, has been playing in the crossbar lock game, giving us some really good options, including the new for 2024 Kershaw Iridium. Fantastic everyday carry folder. It's about $150. Magna Cut blade, nice and thin with a full flat grind. This is not going to compete with the heavy duty folder that I'm also going to be picking, but it is a fantastic everyday carry slicer. Aluminum handles, enough length on there to get a full Gorilla grip when you need it. And of course, the crossbar locking action. Ball bearings in the pivot, US made knife here, just an excellent piece. And I could have honestly put 2 of the other crossbar locking knives, which Kershaw calls their version the Duralock, up for consideration in this category. But to make things more interesting, I left those out because it was between them, it's definitely gonna narrow down to the Bel Air. Let's see what other options though we can look at. We've got the Kershaw Link, I think represents a really good bargain in their lineup. 3.25-inch Magna Cut blade on this one, about $130, made in the USA. More substantial handle here, definitely more substantial than the Bel Air. In fact, feels more akin to something like the Blur. So this is kind of a boundary crosser, blends the line between your average EDC and your heavier duty knives. But it is, as I measure it, just under a 3.25-inch blade, so offering me a bit less there. Last one for this category, bit of a hidden gem, I think, in their lineup, and that is the Inception. Normal price is about $65. It's on sale as we're filming this actually for about $53, which is cool. 3.25-inch blade, D2 steel, Got some very stylish grinds, stone-washed finish, G10 for the handles, some nice custom hardware or a non-standard hardware, spices things up a little bit, makes it look cool. Deep carry pocket clip, and then a liner lock with ball bearings in the pivot and nice snappy action. Just an excellent average size pocket knife for sure. And it's knives like the Inception that Kershaw has done really well over the years. This is on the higher end of some of their basic imports, but they've got some stuff that's truly very affordable and quality is pretty good on those. So that's a good representation of that. Now let's get to the formal knife category. Another thing Kershaw I think is definitely known for these days is their Launch series. This is the Launch 20. Comes in about 145 bucks with a Magna Cut blade again. Very cool stuff. Just under 3-inch blade. In fact, all of my average size EDCs here don't quite fall under the 3-inch mark. So one of the gents knives is going to have to hit that 3-inch category. But let's check out the Launch 20, the Magna Cut blade. You've got that reverse Tonto or Saxy style blade, however you want to refer to it. Kind of a modified Wharncliffe is what I'm going to call it. Aluminum handles, really cool marbled carbon fiber inlays, and a deep carry clip, which for me, on a gent's knife, on any kind of formal carry, I like a deep carry clip for sure. And the action is very good, as you can see. Got another option from their crossbar locking family. This is the Mini Iridium, also new for this year, coming in at about 60 bucks. 3-inch D2 blade, really stylish drop point profile as far as I'm concerned, and some gentler colors on the handle. Really nice. It's almost a, we're calling it ice blue, and some copper style accents. Not actual copper, just kind of copper anodization. That's very nice. And a deep carry clip, not black in this case. You've got a gray clip. And very nice action on these knives, for sure. Yeah, they work quite nice. Substantial enough handle there for a slightly bigger grip if you need it though, too. Like the Blur we looked at earlier, which was designed by Ken Onion, another classic in the lineup is the Leek. I mean, this is a fantastic gentleman's knife option. In fact, I've owned several of these over the years. 3-inch blade, modified Wharncliffe shape. This particular version has their composite blade, where you've got a stainless spine, but the edge side that fits in here and is locked in like a puzzle is CPM D2. The blade is actually marked D2, but it is in fact CPM D2, which is a powder metal version of D2, a little fancier, a little tougher, and just a little bit nicer. Now, prices on the standard Leek, American-made knife start at around 75 bucks. This particular version, normal price is about $119 right now. Next up, for my big camp chopper, there's only really one option in the Kershaw lineup, so you already know who's going to win this, and that is the Camp 10 right here. It's about 57 bucks. You've got 65 MN tough carbon steel blade with this bit of recurve profile. A little bit bolo-like, a little bit kukri-like. It hits pretty hard. You've got a forward lanyard hole. I'm always a big fan of that, so you've got safety. You've got a fairly aggressive texturing on the rubber overmolded handles here. In fact, I would be wearing gloves using this typically because of that, but it has a really excellent shape overall. Just very, very well designed and hits hard. Like I said, that's my option. The only other chopper in their lineup is this hatchet right here, which falls outside the one brand knife challenge. I can always buy a hatchet later, so the Camp 10 is where it's at. What do I carry with it? Well, we've got, for smaller fixed blades, the Deschutes Skinner is a good option, about 50 bucks. 4-inch blade, D2 steel, thin and slicey overall. You do lose a bit of that edge, however, with the finger choil right there. That does allow you to get closer up and get finer control over the blade, but on a small knife like this, that does take up a fair bit of real estate. We've also got the Camp 5 to take a look at. And this has a little bit of kind of some frontier trade knife vibes going on, of course, wrapped up in a modern aesthetic. 66 bucks these days, 4 3/4 inch blade, D2 steel, full flat grind, not quite as thin as the Deschutes, so it's gonna be a little bit more robust, but with the same steel, you're not gonna have wildly differing edge retention. Handles are injection molded here over the full tang, so a little bit more robust construction than the Deschutes as well, being thicker. And you do have a pretty much full length tang on the Deschutes. Yeah, confirmed with the magnets. But you know, there is something about the confidence of a visible full tang that is to be spoken of. The only other option in this category, we unfortunately didn't have one in the building today while we were filming, but the newly released Step, I think, is a really awesome knife. 3.5-inch blade, so you have similar amount of sharpened edge as you would with the Deschute, but a more compact profile. 45 bucks, D2 steel, really nice shape, and really nice sheaths on these as well. We'll go over those real quick. They're virtually the same as far as we're concerned. We've got nylon drop loops with retention snaps and injection molding with positive retention on the click in. All right, let's make some picks. We already know that the Camp 10 is in, so let's do the fixed blade category here first. And for the reasons mentioned, I think I'm gonna have to give it to the Camp 5. I like the slightly more robust quality than the Deschute. I like the fact that you're not giving up the edge that you would on this knife with that larger finger choil there. And it's a pretty good general purpose shape. It's maybe on the larger side for an average hunting knife, but I don't do a ton of that anyway. This would just be a great camp fixed blade. I would love to take this out hiking, doing all manner of who knows what with it while you're out there. Very nice choice in my opinion. All right, big folders, big hard-working folders. The Stratas are nice. The Stratas are very nice, but they are on the thin side. And for me, for my heavy-duty, hard-working folder, it doesn't quite give as much grip as I would want. It's a different type of beast. This is one of those kind of big, easy knives designed to have a lot of edge in your pocket without necessarily the greatest ergonomics. That's somewhat of a secondary concern. Just a lot of easy to carry edge, and this is gonna give it to you. But if I'm working for more than a few long cuts, I want more girth. So do I go with the Blur or do I go with the Live Wire? Both use springs for their action, the double action OTF of the Live Wire, of course, versus the assisted opening action of the Blur. It's a classic at this point. This knife really feels like it was made to work in a way that it has been since the very beginning. You've got plenty of handle. The recurve blade is powerful. You've got the power of that recurve drawing things into your cut as you pass through them, which is quite nice. And it's even made to work well in a pair of heavy work gloves, right down to the angled thumb studs there, which are designed to catch quite nicely whenever you want to get down and get cutting. The Blur is gonna take it for my bigger folder category, which at only 3.4 inches, it's not exactly huge, but it's definitely going to get the job done. And MagnaCut being tough, in addition to stainless and good edge retention qualities as well. Good stuff, good stuff. All right, for my average EDC, the thing I'd probably gonna reach for more often than any of the other two folders, the Bel Air is nice. The slicing profile is great. And just the sheer value on offer here for a US-made folding knife with the MagnaCut steel, with the crossbar lock, and the more premium handle materials, it is hard to ignore. The link being so close, in fact, I think to the Blur is gonna knock it out of contention. I mean, you get a little bit more edge with the Blur, but not a dramatically bigger amount. And you get more handle with the Blur, however, and that is a more noticeable thing in terms of the length that the link offers you. Similar feel of girthiness, but you just get more with the Blur. So the Blur it is. As for the Inception, it is a nice knife, but longtime viewers of this channel know how much I love a crossbar lock in general. It is my favorite lock style, so this is gonna be an easy decision. But the fact that there's options out there for folks not at that price range, who might have smaller budgets, with something like the Inception or even the Kershaw Heist at about 55 bucks, the Iridium for about 65 bucks. You can get similar amounts of mojo with D2 steel even, but the Bel Air, it's on track to be one of the best folders of this year, so it's no surprise I'm gonna pick that one. Which brings us to the gentleman's category. Now, I did say I need a 3-inch blade for certain scenarios, certain jurisdictions close to where I live here. And for that reason, those same jurisdictions aren't gonna look too kindly on an automatic opening knife. So as cool as the Launch 20 is, being a push button auto, it is going to kind of fail for my personal requirements here. Again, yours may differ. Likewise, the black deep carry pocket clip here is, I don't know. I was gonna say that could be a negative. If I'm wearing a pair of khakis, the black is gonna stand out. If I'm wearing my suit, however, the black is gonna blend in more than a silver clip. So it's a toss-up, really. Which brings us down to Leek versus Mini Iridium. The Leek is designed by Ken Onion. I've already got a Ken Onion designed blur in the category here. The Mini Iridium is a crossbar locking folder. I've already got a crossbar locking folder with the Bel Air. Let's get more nitty gritty, shall we? Between the Bel Air and the Mini Iridium, the amount of available edge is honestly, there's very little difference right there. The edge length in a straight line is would go to the Bel Air slightly, but you've got a slight amount more belly with the Mini Iridium. It's about the same amount of edge. The handle is significantly smaller on the Mini Iridium though, so it does feel like kind of the next size down versus the Bel Air. So that's something to think about. The Leek, like I said, I've owned several. I've truly lost count of the number of Leeks I have owned over the years. It's slim, it carries great. You've got a classic design. Maybe it's a little more aggressive looking than the Mini Iridium. And you know what? The pocket clip is not as classy looking from the outside. That's gonna cement the decision for me right there. Mini Iridium for my formal carry folder from the Kershaw lineup. So what does that leave us with? Blur, Bel Air, Mini Iridium, Camp 10, and Camp 5. This really would kind of cover my personal needs for what I need my, my non-kitchen, non-multi-tool knife collection to accomplish. What about you? Does Kershaw have what it takes to fulfill your needs if you could only buy Kershaws from here on out? Let me know what your picks would be down in the comments. Now, if you want to get your hands on any of these knives or any other Kershaw knife, we'll leave links in the description where you can pick any of these up. And we've also recently started offering a sezzle option. So if some of these things are just beyond your price point right now, but you want to pick something up, you can split it up into 4 different payments with that option too. But check out the links in the description, which will take you to KnifeCenter.com, where don't forget about our long-running Knife Rewards program, because the least thing we can do when you buy one of our knives today is give you some free money to spend on your next one. I'm David C. Anderson from the Knife Center, signing off. See you next time.